Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, Colin? Can you hear me okay? I decided to turn the little microphone on so it shows it's plugged in. If you can hear me, let me know. I would really appreciate it. So we got 4 people up in here. We got somebody coming here first thing in the morning trying to cause some trouble, man. I was like, not today. What are you doing? I'm working on some repairs right now. There's a pair of boots that somebody sent in. So we redid the soles, the weld, and I don't know if you can see on the inside, but we redid the footbeds too, which is what the customer was standing on. And I'm getting ready to put the rubber top lifts on the bottom. So we redid the heel base, fixing to put the bottom on, and then we'll go through and paint the edges and box tees up and ship them back to the customer. I appreciate you, Cohen. Thank you for letting me know. So if you're just hopping on, welcome to the video. I know my son wanted to jump on here yesterday and kind of just ramble a little bit. But we're working on some other stuff today, trying to get some stuff done for a special customer. This one right here, we make boots, but we do repairs as well. This particular pair of boots belongs to a customer of mine. He's had a lot of back issues and whatnot. So what we're having to do for him is do something like this that gives him a lot of support. So we just got to put it together. And I'm limited on material for this particular job, so I'm trying to get it. Cube Cub, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And I appreciate the guys that have actually sent us like super chats and thank yous and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Our channel is not super big, but I do try to hop on here as much as I can to try to answer any questions you guys might have or anything like that. And I appreciate the people that have actually sent a lot of stuff or sent us business through the YouTube, because I've basically just about deleted all my social media stuff other than YouTube. I get on Facebook very rarely. I just feel like it was just a waste of time for me. I just get sucked in. Hey Anthony, or not Anthony, Anomaly. Is that right? What's going on, Scotty? Anomaly, yes, we make boots. That's actually the big part of our business now. We used to repair first and then build on the side, but due to the large number of orders that we've had come in, we've actually had to switch, and now we make boots and repair on the side. So good for us, But to answer your question, yeah, we make boots. In order for me to make the boots, though, you've got to come to the shop so we can get you fitted and measured and then build them. So this is kind of, I'm using the same method that I would kind of use with an orthopedic buildup. Because this customer, like I said, he's got a lot of back issues, and so for a while he wasn't able to wear his boots. And now that we're able to modify them like this, he can wear them without having a lot of issues with his back and such. What's going on, Cohen? What's your question? We'll see if excuse me. One of these days I'll get these hernias fixed. Yes or no. A lot of it just depends on the boot. It depends on what it's made out of. I don't have an example here of one, but if you have a leather outsole or something like that, then sometimes yes. It's like this one had leather soles or rubber heels, and at that point, yes, it's worth it because they're already broken in. Now, if they're cheap Amazon boots, I mean, I don't know, because cheap to you might be $300, and cheap to somebody else might be, $50. So you also have to keep in mind, how they're constructed. To get a pair of soles replaced, you're looking at least $180, and that doesn't include anything extra that may need to be done, like the welds or heel bases. So with that, you can kind of gauge whether or not it's worth it for you, if that makes sense. Because it may or may not be worth it for you, I don't know. That I don't know. Oh, $20? Yeah, then maybe not. But, I mean, again, I say that to say this. I've had customers buy a pair of boots at Goodwill for like $6 and then turn around and pay me $300 to rebuild them. Because as long as the uppers are in decent condition, they're good, they're good leather, quality leather at that. The rest of the boot's fine. The bottoms are just the bottoms. Because I've actually had that happen multiple times where a customer would go to Goodwill and they would get a really good deal on a pair of boots that was worth maybe thousands of dollars, and they'd pay me to fake leather. Yeah, that at that point it may not be worth it. I mean, if you pay $20 for them, they're fake leather, then they probably have the single unit soles too, which at that point it may not be worth it. But it's up to you. Because like I said, it's going to cost you at least $180. So. Pop. You talking about Robertsdale, Alabama? Well, I'm trying to see that somebody I know. I can't really see the. I was down in Robertsdale, Alabama last week, actually. Took the kids down to Orange Beach and Gulf Shores, and I want to go see a friend of mine, Mr. Bill Norton, over there in Robertsdale. Yeah, Cohen, I mean, it just depends, Yep, Mr. Bill Norton. I stopped by and visited with him twice while we were down there, so. You too. You have a good day. I appreciate the sub, Cohen. I appreciate it. But no, if I really need to start doing more updated review videos of a lot of these boot brands. I know I have some Tecovas reviews up there, and those are just outdated now. But like I've always liked Anderson Bean boots. These are Anderson Bean. They're still made in the U.S. I feel like their quality has gone down slightly, but I mean anything is going to go down. I'm actually a retailer for Ariat, and they're decent boots. You know, they've got their low end, mid tier, and higher end stuff made in Mexico. I'll tell you what I'll tell everybody: you get what you pay for. And with Ariat or anything, you get what you pay for. And honestly, if that's all you can afford, that's all you can afford. You know, and that's all right. You know, start there, wear some boots for a while. What's going on, Sir Can? It's good to see you around here. I haven't seen you in a minute, which, I mean, honestly, I think it's been like a month since we did a live. Took the kids to the beach last week, and my oldest son, that's what he wanted for his birthday, was to go to the beach, and we were out there for about during the week. So, but I'm just getting ready to put some heels on these, or now they got to get trimmed up. But I'm trying to. I already had my coffee this morning. Nice. Nice. A lot of it just depends. I mean, what you're going to do with the skin, you know, what you're going to be doing with the boots. If you're just going to be using them as everyday skin, I mean, I would probably go with something a little bit, honestly, a little bit less expensive. Would probably last you a lot longer. Cayman, in my opinion, is more for like just going out. If you want something that's going to be good for like everyday walking and stuff like that, just get you some bull shoulder. I got my pair actually laying around here somewhere that I have worn for years, man. And they weren't too bad. Just look at bull shoulder skin. And a lot of it just depends on your budget too. Different companies are going to have different price points, but just get you a good pair of bull shoulder or cowhide boots to start out. If you can afford them, go up and go to like this is ostrich, smooth ostrich, and this customer works in them. But I wouldn't really work in ostrich because it's not as tough. But if you can afford it, I'd go with elephant skin. Elephant skin, shark skin, those are some tough skins right there to work in. Actually, I haven't had Turkish coffee today, Sir Can. I had some, I just had regular coffee off the pot. Some Keurig, you know, but I don't know, I might, this afternoon sometime, I might make me some Turkish coffee. There's just something about that Turkish coffee, man. I'm out, I think I'm out too, so I need to order some more. Actually, somebody told me there was because I've been ordering the coffee online, but I just found out that there's actually a store not too far from me that sells Turkish coffee and little stuff that, and it turns out the guy that owns the store, we actually bought a van from him, so that was kind of interesting. Small world. Yeah, Cohen, I mean, they're nice boots. I actually have a pair of boots that I work in because of you know, if it's anyway. it's one of those things where if you can afford them, go for it. Or if you can get a good deal. But a lot of times with the Cayman, you have to be careful, because if the deal is too good to be true, it's too good to be true. If you want to go to my website, you can find some boots on there. Just go to mannysboots.com, MANNYS boots.com, and just browse through it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Because one of the companies that we rep for, Los Altos, on our website, their boots are actually pretty decent for the price. Like I said, we're also retailers for Ariat, but I don't have all the Ariat products on there. And honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of having some mixed feelings with Ariat at the moment as far as their retail side goes. I've been having a lot of trouble getting a hold of their, like, my sales rep and stuff like that, so I don't know. The boots. Tran. What's going on, Tran? Yeah, Sir Ken. I agree with you. So I just didn't know there was anybody local selling it. And we talked about this too, but I don't know. He invited us to go eat at his place sometime, so we may need to go check it out. The only downside to stuff like that is my wife is diabetic, so she can't really eat a lot of that stuff that they sell. So that's why we kind of have to just go where she can eat. Craig, what's going on, Craig? What's your favorite thing about boots? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite thing about boots is. I think it's just the way they make you feel. And I don't mean like status. I just mean just the way they feel, the way they fit. You know, unlike a lot of people who found boots later in life, I grew up wearing boots. I grew up on a horse ranch. And so for me, boots were always a tool. It wasn't a, oh, I like the fashion statement. For me, it wasn't even in fashion. And so, so for me, just the way they make you feel, because I mean, I wear, like right now I'm wearing Twisted X shoes, because I've had a lot of customers ask me about them, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy me a pair, I'm gonna test them out so I can give my customers feedback. They're not bad, but I don't like how low, because with boots, it kind of, especially with a higher heel, it pushes your pressure points, or how you stand, forward. So it kind of balances the pressure points of your feet. With a lot of these shoes that are low to the ground, it forces you to kind of sit back on your heels, which is harder on your heels. You feel I feel a lot of pressure in my heels, my Achilles tendons, and then that also causes a lot of pressure on your lower back. So that's why I prefer boots with a little taller heel. Not crazy like 2-inch, but maybe 1.5 inches, 1 5/8. That's a good height. I know that was a long-winded answer, Craig, but I figured it wasn't too bad. Cohen, ostrich. Ostrich is actually not the cheapest. Because ostrich is an exotic skin like alligator, stingray, and all this shark and all this other stuff. So for a good pair of ostrich, I would say you're looking at between $500 and $600. It's ostrich. I will say ostrich is a very comfortable skin. Moto Loco. The only thing we specialize in is cowboy boots. I've had a lot of questions about dress shoes. So I talked to a guy that makes shoes, and he was willing to show me, because he said, because he makes boots and shoes, but he says, man, he likes to make shoes more because he can make them a lot faster. With boots, it takes days to make them. With a pair of shoes, he said you can have it done in a day. So I don't know. I may take him up on it one of these days. What's going on, Joshua? Appreciate you hopping on. What's going to be a shoemaker? What's going on, Daniel? A lot of it just depends on what are you trying to do. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people make is they try to buy all these fancy tools, but they don't know how to use the fancy tools. Like I've got, your McKay knife and all that stuff. And I like using this for dress shoes and stuff like that, but this is something you mainly only use for repairs. Hang on. All right, Cohen, we'll catch you later, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you subscribing. And yeah, if you have any questions, hit me up on the website, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But Daniel, to answer your questions, I mean, you just need basic tools. You don't even need anything fancy. I mean, I got this rasp that I use came from Harbor Freight. I know there's companies that sell these wraps, and I got this at either Harbor Freight or Walmart for like $7. There's companies out there that sell you shoemaking rasps like this for like 50, 60 bucks. To me, that's not worth it. And so, but best thing to do really is find you some book on shoemaking. Spend some time with somebody that does it, depending on where you're at. Find you a shoemaker close to you, and then just kind of figure out what you need to do. Because to get started, you don't need a lot of stuff. You don't even need all these machines I got. You can you can make a pair of shoes by hand 100%. It's going to take you a lot longer, but it's possible. But to get started, I would suggest finding somebody that does it, and then just going with that and starting from there. Find somebody that does it, let them guide you, let them teach you. Is ostrich easier to work with? I don't know. You know, I mean, every skin has its own. I don't know if you're referring to as Joshua, if you're referring to work with as far as like building the boots, or work with as far as like dealing with them, like you owning the pair of boots and you're like cleaning them, conditioning them, stuff like that. Building the pair of boots, I mean, the thing about ostrich, it tends to wrinkle a little bit faster. But as far as like alligator's a little bit stiffer. And if you start cutting into the belly, like the scales, it's hard, it's tough. But between the scales, it's super, super delicate. So it's one of those things. Ostrich is a comfortable skin. People like it because of its comfort. No problem, Daniel. And you can look online, like I said, get you a book on making shoes. Some of these books that you get will also come with patterns, so you can make you some patterns, and that'll help you out too. So I got some custom stuff I got to work with. Let me grab these boots real quick. Customer bring these boots in. We're gonna make them taller. So let's see. No problem, Daniel. Man, we got 37 people on here today, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. This might be too big. Custom stuff. Joshua, we actually right now the goal is to build more custom boots, because I've got enough orders for like 5-6 months. If that's all we did, nothing but boots. So really we focus more on that, but we do have a lot of repairs. Not a lot, but we have quite a few repairs of, just kind of trickle in. And so we try to work on a little bit as we can. Try to work on what we can when we can. welding up a lathe the other day, so. But no, custom is really what I like to do more. But I also understand that customers have a need for repairs and stuff. And quite frankly, it's hard to find anybody that's good. And that's why people, a lot of my customers, they don't want to stop taking stuff in. Or they don't want us to stop taking their repairs in. So for our customers, I mean, if I've been doing, I'm not, we don't advertise it anymore. I mean, it's on our website that we do repairs and stuff like that, but I'm not actively, advertising. My customers do it for me, which is great, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if we really need the extra repairs because we have boots to build. I was going to build myself a pair of boots not too long ago, and my wife looks at me and she says, "You crazy?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "You got boots to build. You ain't got time to build you a pair." So I appreciate that, Sir Can. Yeah, we got 30 people on here, man. 30 people. Basically what I'm doing with this is I'm just gonna just add layers on layers. Yeah, 35 people, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. You'll want to see the pair of boots I just finished? Let me go get them. Hang on. So this is the cool thing about getting a pair of custom boots built, is that you can pick your colors, you can pick everything. So this is ostrich, and personally, I don't agree with the color combination, but that's what the customer wanted, that's what the customer got. Cercan. So how you say it? Cercan? Cercan? Is that right? Cercan? Cercan. Cercan. Yes. Scotty. Yeah, I tooled the collars for this pair. And that's actually what I like doing. I like doing this kind of stuff, the tooling. I like doing all the, like the belts and the wallets. So, but I also like to do the shiny heels. Yeah, the color combination is definitely not my favorite, but her favorite color was purple. These took about, I mean, from start to finish, I would say it probably took over a week. Because I had to hand tool. It took a good bit of tool because it's 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pull tabs, and then we have to build the last. So I mean, it took a good week to build this pair. And then the leather, because when I buy the hide, I had to buy a whole hide. So I appreciate it, Daniel. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying. Every pair of boots I make, we try to make them nicer. And that's the name of the game right there. The Croc. You see Crocs? Oh, the cross. I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought it was. Yeah. So these are going to a girl, and I think if I remember correctly, she's a cancer survivor. So. So, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with the way they came out, but like I probably would have done purple and teal. I would have done something a little bit different. But overall, I mean, they're nice boots. I would wear them. So, but I thought I showed you guys these. And I'm fixing to make another pair of boots. That's next online. It's going to be a bull shoulder with navy blue tops. And then all the accents are going to be red. So we're going to do red stitch and red top rub. I think those are going to be real nice too. So I'm excited to get those done. So yeah, this is the stuff that I like doing. I hope so. I mean, my goal for anybody that buys boots from me is to wear them. I want you to bring them back to me all beat up and ready for some soles. I don't really care too much for anybody babying my boots. That's the whole point. You talking about the tops too? Yeah, we could have done that. That would have been a heck of a price increase, but yeah, we'll do it. Drop my pliers. I'm a little sniffly. I know we went to the beach last week, and I felt like crap over down there. It was a miserable beach trip, but it was good to get away for a little bit because we spent a lot of time here at the shop. So, but yeah, Joshua, we can go all the way to the top. Thank you, Scotty. I'm using a rasp because I don't want to make it too loud for you guys here with that machine. So, which I don't know. I hooked up the microphone today, so let me know if the audio is better than before. It should be, but just let me know. Glance at the door real quick. Appreciate it, Serikan. Yeah, trying to make these lives a little better, so I don't know what the machine would sound like. I'm trying to get it worked out to where I can actually either use a GoPro or use my DSLR camera that I have to do these live videos. But I think for that point, I'll need somebody to help me. Daniel, hey Daniel. Base price for a pair of custom boots is $1,800. Now I've been talking to a couple of my mentors, and they want me to go up on the price a little bit. They want me to go up to like $2,100 or something like that, but I don't know. I may just keep the same price for maybe the next 6 months or so. Maybe the beginning of next year will probably go up again, because the custom materials is definitely going up significantly. But as of right now, it's $1,800 base. So that means cowhide, bull shoulder, pig suede, and then kid skin tops, and no stitching. And that's no stitching. Usually customers end up getting some stitching anyway, so it all in all, it ends up being about $2,100 by the time they're done. But it does take a lot of time. The downside to making boots is that your income is basically capped, because you can only do so much, so many. I know bootmakers that make 2 pairs a month. I know some bootmakers that make 3 to 4 pair a month, and I know some that make 4 to 6. So, but that's one person. But usually the guys that make I'd say 2 to 3 pair a month are usually guys like me who do repairs on the side as well, or who do repairs and have other stuff that they do. I know full-time bootmakers who only do 2 pairs a month because that's all they can, they can do. They have a lot more elaborate stuff, but they aim to have 2 pairs a month. I haven't really figured out the whole situation. Hey Josh, a lot of it just depends. I mean, if you do concrete work, I'm assuming you're hosing off all the concrete from your boots after you get done working, which I mean, if you're gonna be out there, you're probably wearing rubber boots, but that's all a personal preference, honestly. I mean, if I was in your conditions, I'd probably, clean them up maybe once every couple months, really good, and condition them. If you're a little bit harder on them, maybe do it more often. But it's just personal preference. Nicks they're good boots. So does Drew's. I don't know if you heard of Drew's. I think it was you I was talking to about them last time. Half the price, man. I got a pair in here that Drew sent me to do a video on. I still got to do. They were kind enough. I reached out to one of the guys that owns it because it's owned by the Baker family. And I asked him, I said, hey, would you be open to sponsor one of my YouTube videos? And he said, sure, what size you need. So, Felix, you talking about the price? Serican. Yeah, they definitely last you a lot longer than anything off the shelf because of the materials we put in them. But it just depends on the person too. I mean, if you go dip them in concrete like Joshua, Yeah, I'll make it a priority. I need to make it a priority because he sent me those boots last year, so like end of last year sometime. So it's been a minute. So I'll make it a priority to get that done for him. Because I really appreciate them sending them to me. So, Serican, the oldest pairs that I have, I don't know that I have. Well, actually, I do. The oldest pair of boots that I have personally is a pair that has survived the test of time. Is a pair of Anderson Bean boots, and I've had this pair since 2008. I've worked in them. I've beat them up. They've had about 3 resoles. Because they're elephant skin, I don't really wear them that much. So, but that's been a beast. Yeah, Josh, I'll make it a priority. Because I'll look at that. Boots are just sitting there, so I'll look at them. Because another thing I want to do is I want to wear them too. I want to put them to the test on our 40 acres and, get some stuff done. Felix, yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to the custom boots, when we first opened up our books to start taking orders, I told my wife, I was like, man, it's going to take us years to build up our clientele. Like a lot of these bootmakers in Texas that are 1 year, 2 years out. So we started taking orders, and people slowly started trickling in. And one thing I've found out about these people who order custom boots, I mean, at $1,800 base price plus extra, it's 2 types of customers. One is the customers that come in and say, hey, there's no budget, just build them for me. People who obviously can afford them. And then you have those who really want them. And who have to kind of justify the numbers a little bit, and you know, and I'll explain that in just a second. But then I also have the other customer who says, I really like them and I want a pair. I just have to wait a little bit because because they see the value, they just need to save up for it. And but the other customer that I was talking about was the one that they kind of have to look at the numbers, because I've had customers who like to, as you can say, who don't want to have that big upfront charge, right? And for us, I mean, it's just a deposit, and then you pay the rest of it at the end when they're done. And I like that because I get paid when they're finished. But one of my customers was wearing 3 pairs of boots a year, and he was paying about $300 and something per pair. So 3 times 3 is 900. By the second year, you're at 1,800. So at that point, with all my boots, and I think he's had them for over a year now, they're still going strong, and he would call and brag on them. He said, "Hey man, I don't know what you do with these boots, but they're not getting wet. They're holding up really nice." And so he actually has another pair on order for him, and then he ordered a pair for his wife. So just stuff like that, because I mean, if you look at out of my boots, he'll probably get, I would say, 5 to 8 years hard wearing, because he was running cattle at the time. If you just wear them every day, I mean, they'll last you forever, unless you slice them with a knife or something, but they're pretty good. That's true, Felix. I mean, you ain't hurt my feelings, but at the end of the day, investing in your feet is a far better investment, in my opinion anyway, than an old school car, because your feet are the ones that are going to carry you. And the reason I say this, and I don't mean any disrespect by it, the reason I say this is because you have, as somebody that does this for a living, I have customers all the time who come by and have back issues, knee issues, feet or foot issues. And a lot of those issues that they have or complain about could have been fixed if they had just spent a little more money on nicer shoes, nicer boots. And just looking at your comment, I think you're one of those customers, like the one I had before, that you'd have to justify. You have to really sit down, look at the numbers, and really figure out if it's something you need to do. But yeah, a lot of times, and I used to be the same way, because when I was growing up on a ranch, I couldn't afford a $500 pair of boots, to be honest with you. But I was going through them so quick. I was going through them in about 5 to 6 months. So that's $1,000 a year, just in boots. And finally, it wasn't until I started spending more money that I was getting more out of them. Because so now I would buy a $500 or $700 pair of boots, but I could resole them. So, and then I get a little more life out of them. You talking about redo them as far as like they didn't fit or something like that, Scotty? Sirkan. There's really, when it comes to waterproof, there's really no boot that's gonna be waterproof unless you get rubber boots. And that's really by far the only thing you can do, especially if you're out there doing irrigation. You can try to do whatever you can to try to make them water resistant, but you're not gonna make them waterproof. Felix, yeah, I get it, man, because some of my customers, they'll go through like those Red Wings or, what's the other one? Thorogoods, quick, because the asphalt gets so hot, it kind of takes the heat activates the adhesion in the sole, and then it just comes apart. So in your situation, what would be very beneficial to you, Felix, is if you look into those either Drews or something, some of those heavy duty boots. I mean, you're gonna be looking between, I would say, $400 and $800, but get the ones that the firemen use, and have the fireproof soles on them, so that the asphalt doesn't heat them up. And you can probably get some decent wear out of those. I can't guarantee that, but based on some of the feedback I've gotten from some customers, because what they do is they'll actually stitch that big heavy lug sole. Let's see if I got one. They'll stitch the heavy lug sole on the boots, so the heat doesn't activate the glue and then they come apart, if that makes sense. Yeah, usually by customers that do a lot of asphalt, they're in your boat. If they buy, especially if they buy the cheaper boots, they'll just go through them. And mainly because of the heat, not the quality. Because I've had them even bring them to the shop so I can hand stitch them. But in your situation, I think the fireproof soles is going to be that's what's going to be good for you. But we've been here for almost an hour, so about 48 minutes. Joshua, yeah, and that's one thing for me too, is especially because on a ranch we're on our feet all day long, and I didn't grow up on a ranch where you had time to go to the house and change your shoes and do all that stuff. I mean, we worked 12, 14-hour days, and you just did what you had to. So anytime, Felix, I appreciate you stopping by and dropping some comments. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Go over to our website and see what we got available. If there's something there you see, just let me know, and I'll be happy to see what we can do. Because another brand that that we sell is Danner. They're good boots. I like my Danners. There's only certain boots that they do stitch the soles on. So, but for you, I'd have to get some. You have to get some boots where the soles are stitched, so they don't tear apart so often on you. Appreciate it, Serikan. Appreciate your support. PHTO 148. Yes, you can. No, you can get. Because if all you're doing is just hand stitching the sole on, you're just a lot of it just depends. Because I've got a machine that will stitch through that big lug sole. So if we can do that, use the machine, it could be as little as $20, just to get the machine set up and put the thread and stitch them and trim them and do everything. But if I have to hand stitch, you probably look between $60 and $80, because it's a pain in the butt, especially going through that much soling. But it's possible, because like I said, I do it for customers all the time. Not all the time anymore, but I've done it. My phone's got 3% charge, and I don't have my charger went missing, so that's lovely. Anytime, PHTO. What's your name? I don't know. I like these YouTube names sometimes. Nick. Yeah, Nick. Appreciate it, Serikan. Wishing you the best also. Appreciate appreciate the support. Like I said, we got 3% battery life left on the phone here, so we may lose the stream. My charger went missing. I don't know if somebody took it. So, but I appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate the support. I know in the last some of my videos, we had some people send us some thanks and some super chats and stuff like that, and we really appreciate it. And so that always helps us out a lot, especially trying to do these lives and other stuff. So, but if you have any questions, I mean, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions, or subscribe, hit the little bell icon so that when we do this again, you'll be notified, and then you can ask your questions live. I know here recently we've done a bunch of live videos, but I probably need to start doing a little bit of everything, really. So, but if you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments. God bless, Nick. You have a good one. We still got 3%. Let me get these shoes real quick. So one thing I do for my customers before this thing dies is we do a lot of orthopedic buildups. So he's got one leg longer than the other, so we got to do the orthopedic buildup on one, and then we got to put some new soles on this one. So boy, I feel much better now, Sedcon. It was rough when we were at the beach. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just miserable. All right. I figure out we have to split this all up. But I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Some more. I'm trying to get the sole split so we can replace it. Yeah. A lot of these now are from people that either were born that way or just have, they've had accidents and whatnot. I guess we're gonna have to grind this puppy down. Oh no, you're fine. You talking about? I think you talking about the boots. No, you're fine. The one I've had, it doesn't happen. I mean, because you got to think about it too. It doesn't happen often, which we're very thankful for that, because we take a lot of measurements, but sometimes it's months and months and months, and the customer might lose weight, might gain weight. So sometimes we have to adjust them or modify them slightly. But to the point where we've had to rebuild the boots, I've only had to do that one time. And that's because the customer had an accident. And so when we built his boots, we built them to the measurements like we normally do, right? And then he had an accident, so when he wasn't able to get his foot in the boot as he would have normally, or he just couldn't stand the pressure of pulling them on. Now we could have modified them and whatnot and put a zipper and whatnot to make it easy for him, but we went ahead and just rebuilt them for him with a wider throat measurement so that he could get him in. So it doesn't happen often, but I mean, it happens, you know? And I think what we do, I mean, I'm not going to give you a pair of boots that don't fit. So, but no, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Surprisingly, boot people have been the least picky. I forgot one. I think the only one that I've ever had any issues with is that one that I was telling you about, the one that had the accident. But other than that, we've been pretty good. I've had to stretch some, you know, for customers that maybe gain a little weight or something like that. But other than that, we've been pretty good. Fabian, just depends what's going on with the piping. There may be something we can. Oh, and by the way, my phone is at 1%, so it's probably going to die here in the next few minutes, if not before then. So let me go ahead and stop it now because if not, it won't save it. So I appreciate you guys. Drop me some comments, and we'll see you guys on the next one. All right, the phone's fixing to die, so let me end this live stream. Thank you guys. Bye bye.